All right, grown-ups, it's just our time. I love the babies, but to help you, I gotta speak my mind. This segment's here to help you grow with book reviews, lessons, and things you'll be glad to know. If your little one's restless or looking to play, send them to my other playlist. The read-alouds there will brighten their day. Hello, beautiful people. Welcome back to the Teacher Lady Show. Thank you for joining me for this episode of Behind the Book. I'm Miss Erica, the Teacher Lady, your fairy godparent when it comes to sharing joyful stories and growing young minds. Now, every single week on the Teacher Lady Show, we do have a different topic. And this week's topic is all about emotional regulation. We want our children to understand what is going on with their emotions and to have the ability to be able to control what they do as a result of those emotions. And of course, we're using picture books to be able to help us to do so, okay? Now, if you have not done so, be sure to check out the Read Aloud first on the Teacher Lady Reads playlist. But today we are going to be doing a behind the book review on The Color Monster. So with this book, in this review, I will be going over the glows, what I think was done well, the grows, what I think could have been done differently, who this book is for, and how do you use it to help your child to understand their emotions. All in this segment of Behind the Book, where we go beyond the pages to get to the heart of the story. Summary in my own words. The Color Monster is a super cute story that reminds us that we have to place our emotions in order to better understand them. So throughout the story, this girl is walking with this monster who changes colors, and she's helping him place his feelings in separate jars, okay? And this is going to help him to process what's going on with him and just clarify what it is that he's feeling. So it is definitely a fun one, but it's also super educational and insightful. Take home message and target age group. I would say the take-home message is really understanding what is going on in your body. For me, she doesn't try to tell us how we should feel or even put feelings down as if they're bad, but instead she provides a tool and a resource to be able to understand what it is that we're feeling. So many of us are reactive to situations because we don't even understand what is going on with our own emotions. So we're on edge, or, our sensitivities are heightened. And until we better understand ourselves and our feelings, we won't be able to cope in a way that is most appropriate and healthiest. Okay. So this book definitely does that in terms of a take-home message. Now, age group is a very young book. I would say 4 years old and up could easily understand this story. The pictures also help with that. Who this book is for? Definitely children. Like, emotions are a lot for everybody. We want children to manage their emotions and their big reactions and responses, and adults struggle so much with this at any age, okay? So having this as a resource for children to be able to place their feelings and their emotions is going to be super helpful. If you're an educator or a guidance counselor, having this as a tool to kind of see where the child places their current feelings, what color jar would their feelings go into, it will help to kind of lead into a general discussion. Glows, what I think was done well. There is a lot about this book. I think the whole book was kind of done well. I really appreciate the fact that the monster goes through all of these different emotions, because as humans, we go through all these different emotions. And so one of the glows was the way in which the book clearly articulated or laid out what it means to feel multiple things at the same time. Because sometimes we feel sad about one thing and angry about another and happy about another, and it feels like we don't have control over our emotions. And so in the story, the author creates this system that helps you to be able to place that. And that for me is definitely the glow, okay? But the other glow is going to be the illustrations. The illustrations are well done, but in this hand-drawn, very child-friendly way. Like, it looks like a very talented child drew the images, And I feel like there was a lot of intentionality with having blank backgrounds and a lot within the monster and the hand-drawn monster. The flowers were really beautiful, the hearts. And so just overall, again, very intentional with those illustrations, which is going to help so many children understand the context of this story, but especially English language learners, children who are neurodivergent, or our young readers that are just starting out in their reading journey. Definitely really, really happy to be able to share this book. Grows. I don't have a grow for this story. I feel like it came to do exactly what it was intended to do. It is very clearly written and drawn, and overall, it is a resource. It's a resource and a system that will help you to be able to understand and process your own emotions. So again, I really just appreciate it. There is no grow from me. Okay, good job. Discussion points to have with your child. I would implement this system. That's how I would go about using this book as a resource. So in the book, there are these different jars, and every jar represents a different color, and they're trying to sort through all of the emotions and feelings that are within that monster and place them within the jar. Now, every color also gives a definition of what emotion that's connected to, like blue is sadness and green is calm, red anger, so on and so forth. And so what I would do with my child is make sure that we understand this system. That way, when you have a child and you notice their emotion is switching, a lot of times before the full-blown meltdown, there is some sort of telltale sign that that child is starting to get anxious or angry or worried. Their body language changes, so on and so forth. And so that would be a good time before we get to, the whole drag out, to have them check in with their emotions and figure out what color would you place your emotion, and like what jar would it go in, which brings me to another activity idea. I think that you should bring this to life. I think that you should have plastic jars in your home that have different color, maybe different color lids, or maybe if you have like a yellow paper and you want to put it inside the jar so that we can see that it's yellow, something to where you have different colored jars, and then that child has different color scrap papers, and they're able to pick up and kind of place whatever their emotion is in that jar in that moment, and then you can talk about it, because children need resources to be able to control and manage and understand their emotions. You can't control something you do not understand. And when I say control, I'm not saying that children should not have their feelings and emotions. I'm saying that the rest of the world should not feel what it is that they're feeling. So oftentimes, we get angry and then we don't even realize it, but we're lashing out at a person who has done nothing to us, or they can feel the energy of our anger, and that is not fair. But it is difficult to control that when you don't even understand that that's happening. So having this process to help your child sort those emotions, and you, right, it's going to be very helpful. Like even when I was reading the book, I took a moment in the read aloud to say, well, these are the colors that I'm feeling. Like I'm sleepy, but I'm also really calm. So I would say that I'm green, and then I'm yellow because I'm really happy to be reading. And it was interesting because it wasn't just one color. And I think that the more that we do this activity, the more that we will understand that we are experiencing multiple emotions at the same time, because humans are complex and emotions are complicated. Okay. Final thoughts. Thank you so much for learning with me on this channel. I really do love Emotional Regulation Week because it's not just children. All of these topics are truly applicable for adults too, okay? So be sure to check out the Teacher Lady Speaks episode on Friday, because there I'm going to have resources and insights. We're going to talk about what's in the state curriculum. We're going to talk about best practices and so much more to really help your child to start to understand what is going on with their own bodies and emotions. If you did not know, I am also an author and illustrator, and I ask that you check out my work. Subscribe to this channel, support the author. There is a link in the description box below, as well as check out the Empathy Library, which is a pay it forward initiative where we give books to children in need on purpose by way of intentional libraries. Okay, so much for you to explore and check out. Thank you for learning with me. Until next time, you remember to enjoy the moment, or go be a joy in the moment. Bye.